This one's gonna this one's gonna be spicy because trying to do Save Stanton Phase 4, which should be literally the easiest mission of all time, has been so bad. And now I have to watch the IAE show and watch Richard Tyrer and John Crew tell us how great all the spaceships that they're making are going to make the game better. So I'm really hyped for this one. Here we go. Oh, man. Can't wait.
Where's my...
Welcome back to the show floor.
I did not complete a
The
single
Drake
mission.
Vulture enjoys a unique place in the galaxy as one of the only widely available
I am so happy they started with this ship because this ship makes me happy.
vehicles for space salvage on the market today. With strong revenue-earning potential for pilots and much greater flexibility than the larger Reclaimer from Aegis, the Vulture uses its popular twin-arm shape to excel at both hull scraping and structural salvage, generating up to 25 SCU of recycled material composite in its buffer and cargo grids combined, whose current market value contends with that of popular commodity Quantanium, but without the associated dangers included with traditional mining. Ultimately, the Drake Vulture remains a satisfying and straightforward option for those looking to fund their further adventures in the verse, and can always be found on the IAE show floor
And it has
for those
all the
interested in
paints,
learning
yeah.
more.
Welcome back to the IAE show. On today's episode, we explore Mastering Flight with Rich Tyrer, John Crew, and Jared Huckabee.
Mastering Flight. Oh my God. No way.
It's Thanksgiving on Earth, so we give thanks to the best ship manufacturer in the verse, Drake. I said it, and I meant it. Nobody owns me. It's the IAE show, and it starts right now.
Okay, we're back. Part 3, final part of our conversation about life of spaceships and Star Citizen, and it's time to address the Idris in the room here, master modes. We'd been talking about master modes for quite some time. We've been building it up as the big savior of the spaceship combat experience.
Yeah, let's talk to the two people who don't make it.
It released to
This is weird.
mixed reviews at times. You know, some people are for it, some people are less than for it. We'll just
Nobody is for what we have right now. Nobody is for what we have right now. 0% chance.
say that kindly. I want to talk about what our plan is, what our vision is. Where are we going with this? What is the plan moving forward with master modes? And I'm just going to take off and leave you two here.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Right?
Yeah,
I
Jared
think
doesn't want to be in the
big
clip.
thing around master modes is that it's never was designed to be a static piece of development. We always wanted to make sure that we were adding in new systems as they came along that
Then why did you develop it in one patch and then leave it there for 3? While you had the developers who needed to work on it, work on jump points and engineering.
and influence those design decisions that we made at the time. And I think 2 big pieces of feature work that we're going to be bringing to Star Citizen that's going to have a drastic change on how we implement master modes is going to be crafting and quantum boost. So right now,
So crafting and quantum boost is going to save master modes, guys. They can't be serious. Can they? I am not one of the people who is going on Reddit and going on Spectrum and constantly talking about master modes or anything like this, okay? But it is very clear that the crafting is not going to fix the problems that we have with it right now. But I will listen.
Now with master modes itself, we have obviously the 2 master modes, SCM and NAV. A big thing is that we're going to actually be demoting or converting those modes from master modes to operator modes. What that inherently means is that we're still going to have a mode that is dedicated to fighting and having combat. There is going to be a mode that's dedicated to your quantum. But we're going to be removing some of the fail-safe restrictions, yes, that had when you switching between these modes. We're going to be moving towards one cohesive speed between all operator modes. That's
How many times have they done this? This is no way. I don't know what to say to this. But it does sound like that Avenger is getting what he wants. Avenger 1, that is, if you guys aren't familiar, where he wanted them to speed things up. This is weird, but I guess quantum boost replaces flying really fast.
Speed is going to be more akin to what you'd imagine SCM speeds are now, but there's two.
Oh, he might not be getting anything that he wants. We're going to listen to this again.
That speed is going to be more akin to what you'd imagine SCM speeds are now, but there's two big, huge caveats that come into that. First off is crafting. So crafting will allow you to upgrade your ship and to tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you want to have combat at higher speeds, if you have a tier 5 ship and you have the best thrusters and you've specialized, you've bought an interceptor ship, that will be more applicable to those types of ships. So that gives people options to choose, like I want to have this type of gameplay versus this type of gameplay. Having that cohesive, unified speed, the one thing that we really need to address is this kind of like nav flight mode that is kind of, it sits in this very odd position in terms of you get out of an LZ and you're flying up to the space station, in atmosphere your speed is really closer to SCM speeds anyway. You're not flying at 1,000 meters a second.
Nightmare?
You can pick up a...
Yeah. You just added 30 odd variables to ship combat.
Start a bounty hunter mission now, be sent to another planet, and then the closest quantum point to that POI might be 500 kilometers away. And that means that, as we add more dense POIs, that's going to only exacerbate this situation because we can't have quantum markers everywhere. And when we start to add more space exploration and more missions towards the different guilds that we're operating on, where you're having to go into deep space and go into these large distances, you don't want to be in a position where that's taking such a huge amount of time. We want you to be spending more time doing the mission than flying there.
They're doing the same BS that Elite Dangerous did with PvP. I don't know what that was, but I get what they're trying to say. Like, if you want your ship to fly faster, you will, but shouldn't there be trade-offs to that kind of thing? Right?
This is where Quantum Boost comes in. Now, the way that Quantum Boost works is it connects your flight speeds to your quantum travel. So quantum travel is for flying millions of kilometers away when you have a specific quantum marker that you're flying towards. And then you've got your flight speeds, which should be, say sub 20 kilometers, where you're flying around, exploring on the planet, or fighting at a POI, or doing a bounty hunting. But anywhere above that, we want to kind of accelerate that process of that navigation. And Quantum Boost goes all the way up to your top speed of SCM, or top speed of our flight mode, your current nav mode, all the way up to essentially a tenth of quantum travel speed. You have this spectrum of speeds that allow you to navigate the large spaces in our game, but also then still stay true to some of the intentions that we delivered with master modes.
Master modes we talked a lot about, and the combat side broadly staying the same. The nav side that was the limiting factor. We often said, it's too fast, but not fast enough. The amount of times we watch new players go into nav, go towards a station, and then we'd be sat there going, they've not stopped in time. So Quantum Boost was always supposed to be that bridge gap, and without it...
I don't know how they get the feedback they get and think the problem is Quantum Boost and choosing a crafting thing going down the line on my Gladius, saying I want my Gladius to be more agile, so I'm going to give it better thrusters, right? Or maneuvering thrusters. I want it to be a more agile ship. I like that idea. I really do. I honestly, truly do. But they have to understand that they implemented a system that is half-baked, and they have not completed the work for that system. The only saving grace that we have here is hopefully what Yogi said on Spectrum last week or 2 weeks ago, and said, hey, there's a lot of Master Mode's work that is scheduled on the schedule. It's going to be after 4.0. We're going to work on it, and it's a lot of stuff. I hope that stuff isn't what they're talking about now. I hope that stuff is agility to light fighters, nimble, more tweaks to those ships as well. That's what we want to hear, not this bullshit. And I really hope this gets to Rich and John, and that they hear this, is I am not a combat pilot. I am not one of the people brigading the forums that is absolutely happening and things like that, right? And they're not brigading because they're it's not like they're it's not doxing. What's it called when you send a bunch of people to a website and take the website down? You know, like they're not trying to do that. They're not happy with the current state of things. Yeah, it's not like they're like DDoSing. Exactly. They're not happy with the state of things, and it's because you didn't finish the work because you prioritized other things. Prioritize the way flying a ship feels in SCM. When I hit the boost button, does that feel good yet? When is the combat mostly just a DPS race? Is that good enough yet? Are turrets where they need to be? Are weapons where they need to be? Are light fighters where they need to be? Are medium fighters where they need to be? There's a lot more that's going on here that is not crafting and is not quantum boost. This is a slap in the face, and I would never say something like that around master modes. I have been very, very, very defensive of Yogi and those things, because it would just seem very obvious that he was not getting the support that he needed to get the stuff done, right? And by support, it was, you know, hey, the ship sale has to go out. We need to put the ship out. There's not enough time to get your work into the next patch. But I can't defend this conversation.
We were left with this sort of nav mode that didn't quite do what we wanted. And it also, because it's quantum and it's creating a bubble around your ship, allows us less friction in the traversal, because you go in quantum, you come out quantum, you don't have to apply all this G-force.
The rules of physics are different
because you're not physically hurtling at that speed. You're wrapping a bubble of time and space around yourself. So you come out, you can stop dead. You're not having that expanse moment where you're all being ripped apart from.
But this is the thing that they do. They never fix the root of the problem. Yeah, A1's gonna quit. I don't think A1's gonna play this game anymore.
So you see that space station coming towards you. You stop.
And I would understand if he did.
The limitation that we are retaining is the fact that you can't have your quantum drive enabled and also your shields. And ultimately, that's a binary decision. Operator modes will start off as the default configuration that we've set in terms.
But we will be able to fire flares and stuff, it sounds like. I might be okay with that change.
The controls, in terms of the MFDs and what you're casting onto your HUD, in terms of your resource network presets. But that doesn't stop you from then going in and customizing it. We're providing an initial, hey, this is what we think is a good default setting. But then it's up to the players then to customize what they want on their cast, what they want on the MFDs, and then they have options to them. And they shouldn't have this constant
what does this have to do with master
modes to gain access to certain operator modes. You know, we're removing some of that friction.
And through all of this, because that binary distinction is between modes, you have to be in this mode or this mode, and there's all these very strict rules between those modes. You keep your weapons through all this. So this now becomes a more tactical decision in combat. But if you need that sudden burst of speed, either to get away from something or to catch up to,
you can fire your weapons in nav mode now. Why are they making these decisions without testing it with us first?
Something you make the choice. You sacrifice your shields, certainly, but you can still bring your weapons to bear instead of get there, and the second you're out.
Could be cool.
And ultimately, that is underpinned by your resource network engineering. So if you're on a single,
maybe AV1's back. He just won't have shields on.
Seater ship, that's obviously at the pilot's behest. But also, if you're on a larger multi-crew ship, you can then use the engineering terminal to be able to have those presets available to you.
And through the use of crafting to improve your components and, of course, your presets and quantum boost, rather, you can get up to speeds that are approaching the current nav speed and stuff like that. So we're not taking that speed away. We're defaulting everything to a speed that is closer to today's SCM.
Yeah.
And then giving the player choices in how and when they can get up to that speed without completely disabling everything.
Ultimately, it allows us to keep the kind of the default. We're trying to move towards a balance across the game where you can start off easier and it gets harder. So we want the default to be open and compatible to lots of players, but then as you start to specialize and it becomes hard to master and you start to work in the different avenues of different professions that you like, that's where you can start to customize your ship. And I think there's a key takeaway or a key point to also make is that if you don't want to craft, if you don't want to go down that route because you just want to shoot ships and be a combat pilot, or you just want to be a miner or a space trucker, there's nothing wrong with that. You can still gain access to this because player trading is going to be something that allows players to gain access to these components and ships.
How do they get money to buy the ship? So, yeah, it's a bit restrictive, but I agree with this standpoint from the in-game economy POV. Is I'm the kind of guy who doesn't want to do the ship combat. There's other people who want to do only ship combat. They're going to buy stuff from me. Where are they going to get their money from, though? So I still think I like the idea of PvPers having to do some playing and making money in some way, shape, or form. I've always liked that idea. Anytime anybody else has played MMOs, I'm sure you're familiar with how it is. You do your PvE stuff, you do your dailies, you do a couple things. You're trying to make some money so you could buy your PvP gear and replace things that you lost and stuff like that. So I am okay with that kind of gameplay. That is personally something I'm fine with, but it is not necessarily what he's saying. If you only want to do this, then you could just buy it from somebody else. Well, okay. Well, if I only do that, how do I make money PvPing? I don't know. I don't know yet.
Having to go through some of the grind that they have, and obviously they're now reaping the benefits of that. But you have lots of choice.
Obviously, there isn't one prototypical Star Citizen player. Developing a system that's going to please everybody is an impossible task. We can only work towards our goals and our vision.
Jared, literally nobody is pleased with the current state of Master Modes. Nobody. You have pleased no one. It is not a good situation. And if we spent more time on the one that we're at, maybe it would have been okay.
For what we want this to be, and hope it applies to as many people as possible. What I like about this, is that you can never go wrong with putting the choice in the player's hands. At any given situation, when you're going to want your speed, when you're going to want your shields,
you hate sweats. This has nothing to do with sweats. I love current Master Modes where you have a chance. You don't, though, against the sweats. You still don't.
Always have your weapons from now on, stuff like this. Just put those choices in the player's hands and let them let them decide for themselves. It's one of those things unique about Star Citizen is that we get to develop this, and then we don't have to wonder. We can put it into players' hands and get that feedback immediately, and then take it in. I think there's a real chance for this to be the spaceship experience we've been working towards this whole time.
I think the big thing to take away from all the things that we've discussed is that none of these things are designed or implemented in isolation. And where we're trying to go is that, when we talk about combat that is, say, not as fast as it was in previous updates, hopefully people understand we're doing that not just because we don't like fast combat, it's because we want to give players options to gain fast combat or gain slower combat, depending on what choices they make with crafting or their purchases. Then it's on a scenario where, capital warfare.
We're just going to have to see what that means. But like somebody said this in chat a while ago, they're kicking the can down the road. When is crafting? When am I going to create a tier 5 Gladius? When am I going to see what that looks like? Like, I know I'm cool with DJ Bunton and stuff, but like, I don't want this to seem like I'm cool with him, so I'm making this suggestion. I want to see what a tier 5, I want to see what a tier 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 Gladius looks like in Arena Commander. And let us move some bars around and go to the limits and places you want to go, and let me see what it looks like. Let me just tweak things to the way that I could tweak them within the parameters that you're setting within crafting. And let me see what it looks like so we can get this right faster. What does kicking it down the road mean? It means not fixing it now because you have a fix for it later, right? Or something like that. Like, you need to get this feeling right, and you just have never given it the right time to get it right. And when Master Modes was in Arena Commander, everybody told you about all the problems with this stuff now, and it's like, oh, wow. We got to make big changes.
You need to be able to use precision targeting, and that's why we developed that feature so that you can have good subcomponent targeting. And I think when you start to see some of this bigger picture come together, and you start to see all of these individual pieces connect, you might not agree with it, and there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But ultimately, that's what we're trying to do. That's how we're trying to connect all these pieces together to create this experience that ultimately Chris is the one that is setting that vision, and we're trying to execute on that vision for Chris. And that is what we're trying to work towards, and hopefully people can start to see some of these pieces connect together and why some of these decisions have been made. And hopefully they enjoy it ultimately at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. Like, he's right. This game isn't going to be for everybody, right? But I'm just not sure the current state is for anyone. So hopefully on top of this, there's additional little tweaks that are going to go on to bring things and make them a little bit better. I don't know. As always, I'm willing to just let them cook, because he's telling me that, I'm going to be able to make these choices, and I'm going to be able to have the ship combat that I want, but it's going to be through crafting. Okay, well, where the fuck is that?
So Rich, John, thank you so much for taking the time to share this vision of Star Citizen's spaceship gameplay. I think there's no better place to do that than IAE, a celebration of all spacecraft and vehicles in Star Citizen. It's come to my attention that
I got a better place to do it, Jared, in the fucking game itself. That's a good place to discuss it, or to make the changes.
The last two parts, when I've attempted to move us on to our next topic, folks have been changing the channel. So I don't want you to do that here. Up next, I'm going to talk directly with John Crew and explain to him my true vision for the spaceship jalopy once and for all.
Change the channel.
Hey, you! Yeah, you! Are you a DIY security super fan? Have you seen every Garmin Humble live stream and special? Well, you haven't seen this. Hey, it's gonna blow your mind. Sign up for all the casualties, catches, and kills. Too hot for open comms. Too intense. Too brutal. Too spicy for Spectrum. When things get dicey.
Did you see the crossbow?
Go extra spicy. Subscribe now.
Welcome back to another episode of Quantum Questions, where we take a CIG developer, put them on the hot seat, and make them answer as many questions as they can in under 2 minutes. Joining us on the show this week, the happiest person at CIG, Mr. John Crew. John, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Having a great day.
That's good to hear. Ben got 15 questions in 2 minutes. How many do you think you're going to get?
Oh, let's go for 16.
All right, so let's put 2 minutes on the clock.
John's so...
And begin. Who are you and what do you do?
He's so
My
dead.
name's John Crew. I'm the vehicle director at CIG.
You're in a desert walking along in the sand when all of a sudden you look down and you see a tortoise. It's crawling towards you. Why did you nerf the Corsair?
It was massively outperforming all other ships in the game. It had 40% of the kills overall just by itself, so it needed bringing down a touch. The current reduction in its efficiency is not going to be the final way. We want to do a bit more with it.
Okay.
What's the drama with the Polaris torpedo tubes?
It's not clear that they actually rotate and feed from the bottom and skirt around the elevator shaft.
Is that what they really do?
That's what they do in the animation.
Where is my Crusader Starliner?
It's going to be after 1.0.
Will you ever make the Rock DS good?
Yes, so we want to enclose both players, whether they're going to be side-by-side or line astern, still to be decided.
Oh, okay.
Tell us what one of the ships from the tease at CitizenCon was.
It's a variant of one of the ones we teased last year.
Ooh. What can you tell us about...
Wait, what was this question? This last one?
Of one of the ones we teased. We want to enclose both players, whether they're going to be side-by-side or line astern, still to be decided.
Tell us what one of the ships from the tease at CitizenCon was.
It's a variant of one of the ones we teased last year.
Ooh. What can you tell
The whole Super Hornet.
us about Endeavor modules?
All still planned, but after 1.0.
Endeavor
Why
after
do you
1.0.
hate Drake ships?
I don't hate Drake ships.
Well, why is Drake the best manufacturer?
Drake's a great manufacturer, rugged, industrial, and nicely priced.
And what's the best Drake ship?
The Cutter, obviously.
No.
All right, so today is Drake Day.
No.
Why should everyone go get a Drake ship?
Can I ask you a question, Jared?
Sure.
Do you ever feel like you're a soulless marketing puppet?
All right. That was good. That was good.
What's the deal with the mule?
Mule's still waiting for a little feature to allow you to remotely disconnect items from pilot seat. This is the same thing we need for the Prospector and the Mole as well, to remotely detach the mining sacks.
Huh?
What's the deal with that double-engine Hornet we saw in the Squadron playthrough?
That's a cool special little variant used by Squadron 42.
What's it called?
It's the F7X.
Ooh. Will that
What?
ever come to the persistent universe?
It might do.
What about the updated Vandal ships from Squadron?
They will as well, but most likely after Squadron ships.
Can you confirm that the Mirai Guardian is coming to Alpha 4.0?
Yes.
Okay.
Tell us something you're not supposed to tell us.
Ironclad's in production right now.
Nice.
Why would you make my jalopy? Oh, at a time.
Wait.
Nice. Ironclad. They put it in lore. There you go.
It most likely does not fly. I hate this man.
They've given this man too much power. They have given this man, it is now official, they have given him too much power. They're letting him make Sesame Street out of Star Citizen.
This will be the day I'll stand up and say we need a ship without all that drip. A scrappy wreck, still covered in dreck, and one you can't buy that won't even fly. Jalopy.
He asks every day. I just say no way when it's
And they made John Cruz sing.
from him. The chances are slim. Truth be told, and I'll tell you why this is not
Jalopy is bold.
Who wants jalopy? Ugh.
I want jalopy.
No one wants this thing but
me.
Cinema. Who is that? The signing off guy. What was that? You guys have any other cuts that we might want to see that I missed? Sneaky ones. We get the sneaky ones every once in a while. Let's see. That was a real person, right? Intrepid. So, Intrepid variant, potentially. Doubt it, though. Jax again. Still no Jax in any IAE show. Is that real life Jax? This might be real life Jax.
Signing off.
It is. I think that's real Jax. Okay. Interesting, because it had the same voice. Sorry, I'm seeing if there's anything special at the end here. Do you guys have any other potentially spoilery little one-framers? Ted, is that you? Yeah. Yep. I got not a lot to say. I don't know what the issues are with master modes, but Yogi has come out and said what he thought the issues were after his initial master modes launch into 318, I believe. And then we've gone all the way to 324 without this. And that's crazy. So, yeah,